Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva Devaki, who was giving immense happiness to Devaki, the spiritual preceptor of the world. We are studying the chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, Yoga of Wisdom. Arjuna was confused about the duty. Lord Krishna tries to explain to him what exactly karma means, how one should perform one's actions, and how one should prepare the mind properly, and one should aspire for the final liberation. There are actions and actions. Actions motivated by desires generally bring afflictions, because the results will not be exactly always as what we wanted. But the results do come depending upon the way how we have done our activities. So karma done in an improper way leads to unpleasant results. And there's another way of doing karmas, that is dedicating all the activities to the Divine Lord and thinking everything is Lord's work, with this idea of nishkama karma, without projecting one's own desires prominently, doing activities entirely for the benefit of the mankind. And there are actions by doing which our heart gets purified. So there are different stages in performing karma. Simply you can't do them in a haphazard way and expect good results. So Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna step by step In a way, he is educating Arjuna how to conduct one's life. Karmanubandhini manushya loke. In this earth planet, we are bound by actions. So it is very important for us to know the technique of doing actions properly. That's why Lord Krishna says, Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. One must be skillful in performing one's actions. Generally, what happens when we do actions, we tend to become egoistic, boastful, which are not good. Instead of getting peace and happiness, we end up with sufferings. So, Lord Krishna clarifies all these points to Arjuna, and he also tells him why he should not grieve over the death of people in the battlefield. And he is impressing upon Arjuna that, really speaking, no one dies. Death is only for the body, the gross body. The content of the body is intact. It is avinashi. It cannot be destroyed. What is the content of the body? It is the soul, Atman, the individual entity. The whole game is going on in this world in different ways, on account of the prominent function of the mind. It is a mind that creates havoc, and it is the same mind which leads you towards freedom. That means mind is playing very crucial role in everyone's life. If you do not control your mind, you cannot escape suffering. So it is very important to know the implications and follow certain disciplines sincerely, and then controlling the mind, you will achieve everything that you want. Verse number 51, Karmajam buddhiyukta hi palantektva manishinaha janmabandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantiramayam. The wise karma yogis, what do they do? How they are wise? They are wise because they don't want the fruits of actions. They give up the fruits of actions and become free from shackles of birth. They attain the state which is free from affliction. So the real karma yogi is he who performs actions as an offering to the Lord with full humbleness, with full faith in the presence of God. He views upon all the activities or the Lord's work with this firm attitude he offers everything, and whatever the results come, he accepts them as the grace of God. That's called prasada buddhi. Such a person is really a wise karma yogi. He knows how to act himself. Such a person is called buddhi yukta. His intellect is properly utilized. So buddhi yukta is wise person who uses his intellect, discrimination, to know what is to be done in any given situation. What generally we see in the world, we do things which we ought not to do, and so we are in great trouble. A karma yogi displays skill in the choice of action. He doesn't allow his likes and dislikes, raga dvesh, to drive his actions. Dharma alone motivates all his actions. He always wants to be guided by the dharma. In order to be going in a proper way, he should know what exactly dharma means. Ignorance is no excuse. So you should know exactly all the things. Then only you can act properly. So the person who is karma yogi, he knows that the results of karma bind one to worldliness, and he does not want worldliness. He wants to be free from the shackles of birth and death, from miseries and sufferings in this world. He wants real freedom, wherein he enjoys ecstasy, permanent peace and joy. So he is not interested in the results of action. Karma yoga is tyaga, which is the renunciation of the results of action. However, when you renounce the fruits of your action, they do not stop fructifying. They do not go away merely because the recipient refused to receive them. When you perform an action with doership, a result is inevitable and inescapable. Therefore, this renunciation remains merely notional, but even this notional renunciation has a great significance to the karma yogi. For when you renounce the results of your karma, even if notionally, you are actually signaling your mind that you have no attachment to these results, and therefore you are willing to accept any result even if it is undesirable, as you consider it as grace or gift from the Lord. He is not perturbed over the results. In this way, one is able to take away the power from his ragadvesh. Ragadvesh will have no more power to torment you. This is how an accomplished karma yogi virtually gives up the results of his karma, although theoretically they may still go into his account. When there is karma yoga, Atma Gyan, knowledge of the self, is not far away. When the knowledge of the self unfolds, the person becomes a Sarva Karma Sannyasi. Sarva Karma Sannyasi means renouncing all actions. Such a person is a Jnani, who knows that he is the Atman, who is really actionless. Therefore he has no doership. When doership is not there, the result of actions also will not be there. He is freed at last from the shackles of birth. When a person performs actions, what happens? Whether you want them or not, the results of your actions go into your Papa Punya account. You can't simply, you have no choice about that. And this Papa and Punya, merit and sin, cause birth, which is how bondage to the world happens. Samsara means worldly life, running after the world, running after the unreal things, engaging oneself in all sorts of worthless, useless, harmful things. Liberation from birth is liberation from samsara, which is called as moksha. Manishi, in the Gita verse, the word Manishana is used. Manishi is a Jnani. He is a Sarva Karma Sannyasi. He has renounced all actions. Who is liberated? He is freed from the shackles of births. Janma Bandha Vinirmuktaha. One can be freed from birth only when one is alive. Liberation happens immediately in the wake of self-knowledge. When you have self-knowledge, the Jivatva vanishes and only the Atman, which is Brahman, remains. This liberated person continues as a Jivan Mukta as long as his prarabdha requires him to live in that body. The moment we have taken this birth, on account of whatever desire, the momentum of it continues in a stipulated way, then only person leaves the body. Moksha is the state, padam, one accomplishes. This is the state which is free from all afflictions. There is only Ananda. Ananda is the immanent result of Atmajnana, whereas sorrow or suffering is a product of ignorance. For a person of self-knowledge, there is no more ignorance. He knows that he is full. He knows that he is beyond all limitations. Verse number 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intellect overcomes the impurity of delusion, then you will get vairagyam towards that which has been already heard and that which is yet to be heard. Why person behaves erratically? Because he lacks discrimination on account of delusion. When discrimination is lacking, people find the world of objects very fascinating, and the rituals enjoined in the karma kand very attractive and appealing. If you do such and such ritual, you will gain such and such results. Such persons have too many things on their plate. A lot of things to be pursued, accomplished and enjoyed, all within the samsara. It is delusion again. If they have no interest in Atma and Atma Jnanam, naturally these persons cannot differentiate between the Atma and the Anatma, that is, the self and the non-self. The self means the content, the consciousness in the body. That's called Atman. Other than that, everything is Anatma. So, ordinarily, on account of ignorance, on account of lack of knowledge, they always take the Anatma as the Atman, and they are deluded into believing that they are their bodies. Their whole attention is focused on the gross body, as if that is everything. Instances of people turning a new leaf overnight are not lacking. People are known to have changed completely for some reason. Some of these persons may have been influenced in some way at some stage to become sincere devotees of the Divine Lord. For whatever reason it may be, some of them may even take to the life of karma yoga. When they make sincere attempts and make progress on this path, they slowly develop discrimination. The intellect becomes sharpened. As their discriminating faculty improves, there will be a corresponding decrease in their delusion. At some stage they also gain vairagyam, dispassion, and they are no longer distracted by the worldly power and pleasures and heavenly enjoyment that the rituals promise. They are now able to discriminate between what is Atman and what is Anatman, what is Dharma and what is Adharma, what are the right values in life and what are the wrong values in life, and so on. They come to know that the worldly power and pleasures and heavenly enjoyment that the rituals promise are not the right values. Such people They not only lost their interest in the rituals, but they are also not interested in hearing about them anymore. When they were under the spell of delusion, these topics may have caught their imagination by the flowery words of the scriptures enjoining the rituals. But those topics do not interest them any longer, and they strike them off from their mind. Verse number 53. Shruti vipratipannate yada stasyati nischala samadha vachala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. When your mind, which has been distracted on hearing praises of the fruits of the rituals of the karmakanda, remains steady and firm in the self, you would gain self-knowledge. The scriptures describe rituals that promise worldly power and pleasures and heavenly enjoyment. The ordinary person is enchanted to hear about such pleasures. He concludes that enjoyment should be the goal of life, since the scriptures themselves recommend enjoyment. The mind of the person obsessed by sensual enjoyment is too unsettled and distracted. Enjoyments do not satisfy you. You want to keep on enjoying as long as you can. Enjoyments only degenerate your system and make you weaker and weaker, and finally they make you useless. Mind generally does not need much encouragement to reach out to sensual enjoyment. It is most comfortable and happy in sensual enjoyment. It is its natural habitat. Therefore, it is very difficult for the ordinary persons whose minds are deluded to turn away from these glamorous attractions of pleasures. When the mind is distracted by sensual enjoyment, it is never steady. The buddhi of such persons spreads out into many branches. Eka buddhi cannot take place in them. That means they will not have focus on the thing to be done. However, when you are determined to leave behind all your past foolishness and take to more enlightened ways of living, the rituals and the promised results which fascinated you earlier no longer fascinate you. You are not confused anymore by the recommendations of rituals. You know that they perpetuate worldly life. You are not interested in that kind of worldly sort of life. You are interested only in moksha, freedom from this world. Therefore, you reject the recommendations of the scriptures firmly and decisively. No amount of flowery words would rekindle your interest in them. One of the enlightened ways of living is karma yoga. It is a prayerful way of living. The karma yogi is a holy person of exemplary self-control. His discrimination is sharp. He is very clear of the goal, which is moksha, freedom. He knows how mischievous and corrupting sensual enjoyment could be. He also knows that worldly enjoyment and spiritual pursuits are mutually exclusive. Being a mumukshu, seeker after the freedom, there is no question of his being interested in the worldly or even heavenly enjoyment. He is very clear about what he wants to accomplish. He wants freedom, and he turns on the spotlight on his goal. It is always in his vision. No distraction will be allowed to interfere in the pursuit of knowledge. To do this, you must have very strong determination. A person who has strong determination, his mind would become steady. In the due course of time, the life of Karma Yoga would eliminate hatred and aversion. When hatred and aversion are removed, self-knowledge is not far off. Very soon after gaining Antakarana Shuddhi, purification of the heart, one gains a knowledge that is moksha, freedom, liberation. Yoga here means self-knowledge. Because of lack of discriminative knowledge, you have been associating with dukkha all along. Dissociation from this association with dukkha is brought about by a more sharpened discriminative knowledge. Because of this sharpness in discrimination, you are able to clearly see Atman as Atman and Anatman as Anatman. And you also recognize that you are released now from every limitation. When this clarity is achieved fully, then there is real yoga, meaning self-knowledge. This yoga, called jnana, is what Arjuna would gain. The following shlokas, number 54 to 61, Lord Krishna explains who is Sthidaprajna, who is a person of steady wisdom. Arjuna asked, Sthidaprajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava Sitadihi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. He puts too many questions to Krishna. O Keshav, what is the description of a man of wisdom? Whose mind is steady? How does such a person whose mind is not shaken by anything speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Of course, his questions are very educative. Lord Krishna's message kindles us the interest in the pursuit of knowledge. One is called Sthidaprajna when he knows with certainty that self is Brahman. Self means Atman. The self in English has too many meanings. Ordinarily, self means mind. But here we don't mean that. Self means Atman, the content of this body, the consciousness, we can say, the individual entity. The entity means, individual entity means consciousness associated with the mind, subtle body. The mind, see the body, the individual person has got causal body, intellectual body, mental body, gross body. To put it in brief, gross body and subtle body. Gross body is the one which is nourished by taking food. If you don't take proper food, your body decays fast. One is called Sthita Prajna when he knows with certainty that Atman is Brahman. I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I dissociate with all this body complex. He is verily Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman indeed. He is a Jnani, a person of knowledge who is rooted in steady wisdom. He has no doubts, vaganness and error as far as the knowledge of the Atman is concerned. We find nowadays many impostors who unscrupulously exploit the religious sentiments of innocent people. How does one come to know who is the real Sthita Prajna and who is a pretender? Conditions in those times probably were not much different from those of today. Evil and good always coexisted and will probably continue to coexist in future also. Arjun therefore wants to know from the Lord how to distinguish a real Atmajnani, a real man of wisdom, from a pretender who poses as a man of wisdom. What distinguishes this person's wisdom? Lord Krishna answers, verse number 55. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha Sthita Prajnastadochyate. Who is called a man of steady wisdom? When a person gives up all desires as they appear in the mind and remains happy in oneself and with oneself alone, then he is said to be a man of steady wisdom. They say that one should imitate a successful person, but never the one who failed. The Sthita Prajna is a role model for all those like Arjun who have ambitions of becoming one, imitating the characteristics of this person. Arjun and others like him can also become men of wisdom, whose knowledge about the self always remains steady and certain. So what makes a person a Sthita Prajna? You have desires because you think that you are inadequate. And you wish to compensate for this perceived inadequacy by acquiring objects from the world outside. You do not know, however, that happiness does not inhere in the objects of the world outside. Your happiness is nowhere outside. It is right within you. Self is always full. Self has no limitations. Self is happiness. Self is Ananda. Self is Satya. That's why when you are in a deep sleep state, after waking up you feel immensely joyful. How that was possible? Because you are totally disidentifying your body-mind complex in the deep sleep state. You are enjoying the bliss of your own true self. That's why you feel immensely happy after waking up. Self is Satya, truth. The world is a mere drishya. Only apparently real. Worldly pleasures, they are all ephemeral. The Sthita Prajna, man of steady wisdom, is aware of all this. Therefore, it does not depend on anyone or on any external objects or on any external situation for his happiness. All that he needs for his happiness he finds within himself alone. He is secure and happy in this self. He has discovered joy. He has discovered joy in this self. He is content to remain immersed in the happiness that he is. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. Therefore, he is able to give up all desires as they arise. He is not enamored by desires anymore. He just don't want them. The fire is hot, not because of any reason, but by nature. Similarly, a wise person is happy, not because of any reason, but by nature. The wise person knows that self is the source of all real happiness, and therefore he requires nothing else to be happy. By this knowledge, he casts away all desires. Dukkeshvanu dvigramanaha sukeshu vigatasprahaha vitaraga bhayakrodhaha sitadihi muniruchyate. Verse number 56. Who is man of steady wisdom? He who is not affected by sorrow. He who has no longing for pleasures. He who is free from desire, free from fear, free from anger. Such a person is said to be a person of steady wisdom. He is not pulled by these qualities. One who has self-knowledge discovers joy in himself. This joy comes out of knowing that he is the Ch.2 Atman, which is no other than Brahman. Brahman is Ishwar, who created this world. This person who knows that the self is Brahman, he says Sthita Prajna. The Sthita Prajna has no desires. He is happy even without the desires importing happiness for him from the world outside. He is always happy. That's why you find a real saint is ever cheerful. There are many examples to quote. Even take Sri Ramakrishna's life itself. Unto the last breath, Sri Ramakrishna was ever cheerful, peaceful and blissful, always in ecstatic state. He does not need a reason to feel happy. His nature itself is to be happy. A fire does not need a reason to be hot. Its nature itself is to be hot. The Sthita Prajna knows the nature of Atman. The nature of Atman is to be free from all limitations. He knows that he is the Atman, and therefore he knows that he has no limitations. Sorrow, dukkha is not the nature of the Atman. Ananda is the nature of the Atman. The Sthita Prajna knows this truth, and therefore is completely free from sorrow. Because his nature is Ananda, and because it does not need happiness from the world outside, he gets rid of every desire as it arises in his mind. He just ignores them. The desires may crop up in the mind, but he becomes totally indifferent. Then the desires will not bother him anymore. The wise person is also happy with worldly happiness like any other person, but he has no longing for it. If it comes of its own, he does not reject it. But if it desires not to visit him, he is not bothered about it. Its presence doesn't make him elated. Its absence does not make him gloomy. The wise person also recognizes pleasure as pleasure and pain as pain. But he does not go overboard with either of them. He is not carried away by either of them. Sukheshu vigataspраha dukkeshu anudvignaha. Since there is no longing or craving for sukha, the wise person's desires do not get out of hand. His sukha always resolves in himself, in his fullness. One who is not swept away by either sukha or dukkha, happiness or sorrow, is also free from desire, fear and anger. Raga is desire and krodha is dvesha. Freedom from raga implies freedom from dvesha also, because if raga is present, dvesha is not far off. They always go together. The wise person's happiness is not toothless, non-binding. A wise person is naturally free from anger, which is another form of raga. The desire itself is transformed into anger when it does not get fulfilled. Whatever obstructions that come up in fulfilling one's desire, they are the target of one's anger. If you are free from desire, you will be free from anger also. When you are afraid of something and you run away from it, then you have yielded to the enormity of the problem. When you run away from anything out of fear, it means that you still have raga dvesh. Arjun, for instance, wanted to retreat from the battlefield because of the fear of having to kill Bhishma, Drona and others who are dear to him. He did not like the prospect of killing them. Likes and dislikes are both forms of desire. Fear is a thought in your mind and you are afraid of your own thoughts. Fear will be there where desire exists. Desire will be there where ragadvesha exists. Once ragadveshas are gone, fear also goes. When the desire is there, a difference between Jiva and Ishvara exists. Once there is a difference between the Jiva and the Ishvara, the individual entity and the Lord, there will be Beda, difference everywhere else. If you think that you are different from Ishvara, you think that you are different from the world and from everyone else in the world, you are an insecure person. The fear of danger from everywhere persecutes you. Any small division is enough to cause fear. As long as there is division, fear cannot be avoided. As long as there is duality, there is going to be fear. Fear comes from duality only, because you recognize the source of fear as something other than you. Fear never rests in a single thing. A second thing is necessary for fear to occur. Therefore, the one who is free from duality is not only free from ragadvesh, but is also free from fear. Thus, the only way of getting rid of fear completely is through overcoming duality, which is possible only through knowledge. A Muni is a thinking person. He is a person of inquiry, a contemplative person. The knowledge of the Muni stays. It doesn't oscillate. The Muni does not think duality one day and non-duality another day. The person whose knowledge is steady is a sthita prajna. So like that, Lord Krishna explains how a man of steady wisdom would be and how we should aspire to become men of wisdom, steady wisdom. Because world is a place to learn the lessons. Experiences make us learn things and educate us to live the life properly, and it sharpens our intellect. It makes our mind to think properly and act properly. Let us stop here. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when the instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.